First I wanted to explain where I'm at right now with the electronics part of my build, and then kind of where I'm going, and then I got a couple of questions. Here's the X and Y the stepper motor drivers, and then here's the Z. I got it wired up, and then the power supplies. Steve, I had a question on how you hooked yours up. I'm making a shadow here. You had a jumper here, and then you had a negative, I think, going into one side, and I wasn't sure about that. And then also, I didn't see where you put these three wires when you did the power from the power supply, but I did notice that you somehow hooked this into the, I guess it's the ground right there. Not sure about that, so I left those undone, and then I also left all the wire shielding undone because I think what I was told before was somehow I have to ground this to the case. So all that I left undone until I can figure out what to do there. For the Z, all I did was the only connections I used were the pull plus and minus and the direction plus and minus, and I wired that in, and I color coded all my wires just for reference. Then one thing I wanted to say is I did it on a piece of wood because I'm moving, and I've been moving in the military for the last 26 years, and every single time, you know, the movers come in and they miss something or they lose something or they steal it. So that's why I did it on wood, and once I get down to Fredericksburg, then I will use this wood as a template and put it on a piece of sheet metal. I'm still in the process of wiring it. This is the C10 breakout board that I'm using. I'm ordering the same one that Steve ordered, but until I get it in, this is what I'm going to use to test it out. And I already tested it out before. It does work. On my previous video, I think I said I had a problem and couldn't get any power out because of this jumper switch right here was set wrong. It was in 1 and 2 position, and then I changed it to 2-3. What happened was it enabled it says COM right there, and I said that was ground, and it's not. It enables the 5 volts there, and then this is the step and direction negatives, and then the positives right there. The other thing too is I shouldn't have hooked it up like this because it goes X, Y, Z, and this is the 4th axis. And then I'll put my E-stop in here. I've already got that. It's right there with my limit switches and stuff. And then the other problem I had was that you had to make a jumper. Your negative, your positive, and your positive had to go to a jumper to enable the power. So that's the C10. And then I kind of hobbled this thing together. I was having a real hard time with it. I finally just went with a Dremel and a file and started cutting this stuff out. These are for the X, Y, Z, and alpha, the 4th axis that I'm going to be doing. And that was another thing I forgot to say is I went ahead and put all of my 4th axis wiring in. I don't have my power supply, my motor, or my stepper motor controller yet, but I've already got the wiring in, and I've drilled all the holes for that. And then I routed all my wires down this side instead of going over there. So what I got to do next is I got to get a bus bar to hook all of these into, all the wires for my power supplies. And I've been looking all over the place. I can't find one. I went to Radio Shack and I found one. Then I would have had to make a bunch of jumpers because each of the buses they had, it was just, you know, you could hook one positive coming in from your power and then one positive out, and then you'd have to make a jumper and another jumper. And I saw the one that Steve got, and I really liked that one. So that's what I'm trying to find. So that's stopping me right there. Another thing that's stopping me was the power supply. I actually had one laying here. I don't know what I did with it. I pulled it out of an old computer, so I'll have that one fixed. I noticed from Steve photos that I think these were a place for 2 15-amp fuses or breakers. I don't know what you call them, but that's something I got to source. Again, Radio Shack, no joy. Couldn't get any of these parts. And then for the front panel, I'm doing it the same as Steve. I just got to find a place with the switches. I already have the E-stop. He has 3 switches up there. I think he said coolant, the fourth axis, and I don't remember the third, and so I need to source those. But that's where I am right now. Also, here's the X and Y brackets that I made. I messed up right there. I got to go back in and fix this. This needs to be countersunk so the bolt will go inside, so it'll go flush up against the mill. But I put it on the mill, and everything lines up. It looks like crap. So that'll be definitely one of the first things that I redo are going to be my brackets. These are done, and I got to work on hopefully the Z. Hopefully this week I'll knock out the Z, but it's taking a long time doing this manually because I have to, you know, zero each of the drawings and then figure out the coordinates and go from there. I do have the ball screws in, and I have two of the couplers, but I'm missing one. These are the couplers that came with it, not the ones that I'm using. And I got the bearing blocks. And once I get the electronics and the stepper motor brackets done, then I'm going to figure out how in the world I'm going to tackle that job.